We're back, we're naked, and we're ready to party.
You're not really naked, are you?
Not physically, but here on the Naked Party Time podcast, we get real and raw about life, leadership, and love. So what do you say? Are you ready to get naked?
Let's do it.
Once you start practicing Sabbath, how long does it take before you start seeing a difference in your life? That's what we're talking about today on episode 59 of the Naked Party Time podcast, where we get real and raw about life, leadership, and love. Welcome back, or welcome for the very first time. My name is Jeff Manis. I am your host. I'm joined, as always, by my Christmas aficionado.
Ooh.
My wife, my best friend, my podcast queen, Sabrina.
I like that.
Yeah, we're in a different...
I got my Hallmark sweatshirt on.
Yeah,
watching
you do.
Hallmark movies.
Yep. We're in a different... We set up a different spot here in front of our fireplace. Got our Christmas tree, our Christmas decorations. We decorated what day, Sabrina?
November 1st.
And if you had it your way, you'd decorate long before that.
If I had it my way, I'd keep it up all year. Are you kidding me?
You have asked about keeping it up all year long. But then it wouldn't mean as much
I know.
if you left it up all year long.
I just like it so much.
Yeah.
That's why we put it up so early,
I
because
know.
I like it so much.
I grew up in a family, we put it up the day after Thanksgiving.
Which we did that for many, many years, you
Yeah.
and I,
Yes.
and our family.
When did your family put up decorations?
My birthday is December 16th, so I feel like I remember stuff always coming up, being put up like not too long before my birthday.
Okay.
But I don't know that we had like a set date.
Yeah.
I just remember it would happen in December. It was usually up by my birthday. But I love Christmas so much, and we just keep doing it earlier and earlier. I mean, we've never done it earlier than November 1st, but that's the earliest.
That's about the earliest I want to go.
We haven't always been that way.
No, that was just the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Maybe last year.
No, it's been the last couple.
Not November 1st.
No, not November 1st. There
But in
was
November sometime.
one year you were out of town.
I do remember that, yeah.
And I surprised you. I had like bribed Jonah and one of his friends to take everything down from the attic. And I had some friends come over and help me set up.
I remember that.
And then you walked in and we filmed you.
Was I so excited?
Oh, you were just thrilled. You were just thrilled because you didn't have to do anything. That's basically how it is. Jeff does not help with Christmas decorations at all. He brings them in or gets them down, brings them in, and then he's out.
Yeah.
So this is the first year where I've struggled a little bit because the one child still at home helped for like an hour and then she tapped out. And I need my child in New York to be here. She was my best helper.
I love Christmas decorations. I do not love Christmas decorating.
Yeah. So it's taken me a little longer to get stuff up.
Yeah. But it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
House looks great. We are filming in our living room today instead of our dining room.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching on YouTube, my OCD and my perfectionism is bugging me because you can see the microphone cable going across the floor. I don't want my computer out. We'll work on that. Might have to get a longer microphone cable. I just wanted to mix it up.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes. Sitting here. And we have not podcast since August 13th.
Whoops.
We try to do one a month. Not doing too good.
I don't even know what happened in September.
Well, here's, I think, what happened. I think you started watching Dakota more often.
Yeah.
Is part of what happened. And so, like, I get Friday and Saturday off from my work at the harbor. And so we typically record on Fridays.
Right.
But a lot of the Fridays you've been working or we had something else going on and we haven't got to it.
Yeah. It was just harder to line up our schedules.
Yep. But we are going to try to get back in the once a month rhythm. We're doing a sermon series right now at the harbor around Sabbath called Reframing Rest. We love talking about Sabbath.
Yeah.
So it was very easy just to open up this podcast by answering a question that we got in. So somebody on our staff actually asked me the question, how long after you start practicing the Sabbath before you start seeing a difference in your life? And so we're just going to riff on that for a while. We don't really have a plan for today, so see how it goes. And I mean, I told you what the question was. Have you thought about it at all? Like, how long for you do you think, when we started practicing it, before we saw a difference?
I think for me, just because the way I'm wired in my personality, I felt a difference fairly quickly. I'm not type A, need to check a list, get things done. I mean, I like to get things done, but in my own time. I'm very ADD, all over the place, do 100 things at once, and I'll give it everything I have. But if I don't get to it, I don't beat myself up over it. So it was very easy for me to stop all the work and to just hang out with Jesus and figure out what this looks like. So for me, I feel like it wasn't that hard. Just my natural wiring.
So since it was not that much different from your natural wiring, what do you think what are the differences? Like, how has Sabbath made a difference for you if your natural wiring isn't that much different than what a Sabbath would look like?
Well, I think just the intentional time I spend with God, I don't do that I spend time with God on other days.
Sabrina noted, Sabrina does not spend time with God except on the Sabbath.
No, I spend time with him every day, but the Sabbath is the only day I don't have to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't have to take care of anybody. I don't have to do anything for anybody else. And so I can have unlimited time with Jesus. And so that's made a huge impact. Just whether it's talking to him more. In the beginning, I felt like I had to do so much forgiveness. Like it was like on Sabbath, I could finally hear him. And I felt like I started out all my Sabbaths with forgiveness. And so just having the quiet moment, because on the other 6 days, I know I got to get my Bible read, I got to pray, I got to do all the things before I get to whatever the first thing of my day is. So even though I don't have a regular 9 to 5 job, I have several part-time jobs.
Yeah.
So I still have a schedule I have to keep. And on Sabbath, there is no schedule.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing in my calendar, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because I am more lazy is not the correct word because I'm not lazy, but I am more like sitting and knitting is what I would prefer to do all day long every day. That's obviously not healthy. And I love being with my family and serving my family. But if I can have a moment to sit and knit, that will be my choice. So like I loved that Sabbath was, you don't have to work because working is not my favorite.
Yeah. Do you remember how long it was for you before you started
like figuring it out, feeling it?
Yeah, feeling like, oh, I need to do some forgiveness. Like how long before Sabbath became that space that you realized, oh, this is what I could use that space
It probably
for?
took a couple of months to figure it out. Because even today, I'm still figuring out, I shouldn't do that on Sabbath. That stresses me out, or that's too much. Like even now, 4 years later, like I can feel my chest get heavy when I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. It's like it provokes that anxious
on Sabbath.
On Sabbath, yeah, provokes that anxious feeling. Like, okay, nope. I need to not do that. So it's definitely a learning practice. And Jesus hasn't had me do forgiveness in a while on Sabbath, but I just feel like I actually sit and listen to him and aren't thinking about the next thing I have to do. Yeah. Maybe for me that's because I am ADD. On Sabbath, I'm not thinking about I got to do this and this and this and this and this and this. Even though I don't physically check a list off, it's all in my head.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well,
we're very different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, Sabbath is against my personality.
Yeah.
Like I am wired to get things done. I struggle to not have something to do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, in our own marriage, we still talk about, like, I struggle on vacation, especially if I shouldn't say I struggle on vacation. I struggle if I have vacation time that I'm taking, but we're staying home.
Yes, because you see things that need done.
If I'm home, I see things. Yeah, the yard needs addressed. The whatever, laundry needs done. Kitchen needs cleaned. Oh, those light bulbs need changed. Like whatever it is, or just even I have my home office here, and I could get some work done.
Mm-hmm.
So if when I'm home, I want to get things done. I struggle to not get something accomplished. So, like when we go on vacation, if I'm going to truly rest, we have to get away from the house.
Yeah.
Otherwise we can't.
I see the things, I just walk right by them.
Yeah, so I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that. I just saw I saw a meme on Instagram today that said there's two types of people in the world. One of them has to relax before they can get things done. The other one has to get things done before they can relax.
Uh-huh.
And then the meme said, and those two people marry each other.
And
that's us.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot relax if there are things that need to be done. So I am all about getting the list done. Where you really are the opposite. Like, you need to relax before you get things done.
Yeah.
And you are often content just if things don't get done.
Yeah, I am. Because I know eventually I will get to it. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'll get to it. I see it. But
yeah,
I'd rather do something else.
So when I got asked this question, because I struggled to get to a point where I felt like it was making a difference.
Yeah, you were annoying.
Yeah. And so I actually am very thankful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll do some forgiving this Sabbath. I'm very thankful that for I don't know how many years now I've been doing it, but I do a daily journal. And it was actually on vacation one time. I was reading a book. I think the book's called Steal Like an Artist. It's not a Christian book at all. But there was a challenge in the book to start every day by writing in a journal this phrase, the best thing about yesterday was, and then just write one thing. Because people, even myself, what do I write in a journal? But I found that very easy. I can think of what's the best thing that happened yesterday? And it's been awesome. Because now I have years of the best thing that happened yesterday was. And so when I got that question, I was like, I know I wrote down in my journal some Sabbath stuff. And so I went back and started finding out. Like, I want to know, when did we truly start practicing it? If you're not watching on video, you might see our son's dog walking through the picture. When did we truly start trying Sabbath? And then when did I feel like we started seeing a difference? Well, we've shared before, and you can go back and we have several other Sabbath podcasts we've done. You can go back and listen to them, where we're talking in detail about how we Sabbath, all that kind of stuff. But we first started being challenged by the Sabbath in January of 2020. We listened to a sermon by Pastor Tim Lucas at Liquid Church in New Jersey. He did one sermon on the Sabbath, and we were both so challenged and so convicted that we were ignoring this weekly gift from God to stop all of our normal work and activity and truly rest in Him, to just be satisfied in Him. And so we said we're going to start trying. I go back in my journal. The first day I could find in my journal that we actually tried to Sabbath was February 15th. And I wrote this in my journal. This is on Saturday morning, so I wrote my best thing about the day before. But then I said, we're taking a stab at more of a Sabbath today. Thank you, Lord, for rest. So Saturday, February 15th, was the first day we really tried to do a full Sabbath. So then I wanted to see, well, what was...
Hey, I'm gonna move for a second. Nova's getting in the trash.
Oh, okay. The dog who was in the picture is now in the trash. So then I looked on the next day, February 16th. That's a Sunday. And I wrote this in my journal. The best part about yesterday was taking a Sabbath. I probably didn't get a true Sabbath in, but it was great just doing nothing all day. I got a nap in. Thank you, God. I want to start planning Saturday as my Sabbath. So that was the first day. I'm looking over here at nothing. My wife who's walking around trying to get our dog figured out. I wrote that day. It was our first day. We tried Sabbath, and I wrote the next day. So I wanted to see, okay, how did this continue? So I went very next week, Sunday, February 23rd. So 1 week later, second week of Sabbath, I wrote this. Best part about yesterday was taking a Sabbath. Slept in, relaxed all morning, went for a walk outside, watched 2 of the Maze Runner movies with Jada and Sabrina. Thank you for the day off, is what I wrote. We laughed about that. Why?
Because we would never watch those movies.
No.
Again. Because they're stressful.
They're stressful. They're intense and action-oriented, and they're thrillers.
Yeah. I mean, they're good movies.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with them, but I just don't want to feel that heaviness in my chest.
Anxiety,
and my body tight. Yeah, like on Sabbath, I don't want to feel that.
So the second week in, we were doing something that we today would not do.
Right.
Which is watch a movie like The Maze Runners. Again, not because they're evil or something.
Yeah.
But because we today don't watch any movies, we try not to, that cause that stress, that increase, that tense up,
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was the second week. We tried it again, watched a couple movies, but, we did it differently than we would today. So then I moved on. This is the next week, Sunday, March 1st. Best part about yesterday was Sabbath. I did have to run a couple errands, but for the most part, I did nothing. Thank you, Lord, for days of rest. Third week in, I ran errands.
Yeah.
Don't recommend running errands on the Sabbath. Kind of contradicts what the Sabbath is for.
Right.
But again, this is just, first of all, a sign of how far we've progressed in our Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I hope, an encouragement for people. It's going to take a while before you truly find your rhythm of Sabbath. That you don't have to perfect it on day one.
No, it's a journey. It's a practice.
It's a practice. And practice makes progress.
Right.
Not perfection.
Right.
And I think this is where a lot of people give up. I'm going to equate this with tithing again.
Mm.
Well, I tithed once, it didn't work.
Mm.
Well, first of all, you need to define what does work mean for you. Like, yeah, you may not tithe and get a check for double back from God the next week. That's not how tithing works anyway.
Right.
But I think people say, well, I tried to Sabbath 1 week and it didn't work. It won't take a week. We're almost 5 years in now, and we are just even now, this month, making changes to our Sabbath,
mm-hmm.
doing things differently that maybe we haven't done before.
Yeah.
And so if it's encouraging for people, we saw a difference immediately in the fact that we were trying. And I think if you try, God will meet you there.
Right.
But we didn't see all the benefits it had because I don't think we've still seen all the benefits because we're still adapting it.
Yeah. Even like a couple of weeks ago, we watched a movie. It was a movie I found based on a true story. It was an Army chaplain. He was being deployed for the first time. Our son-in-law is in the Army, going to be deployed sometime this year. And so I thought, this will be really good to watch.
It's like a Hallmark style movie.
Yeah, Hallmark style movie. It was so, so good.
Yeah.
But we were crying. I was stressed. They were fighting, and
people were dying.
Yeah, people were dying. And I was like, we shouldn't be watching this. But I was like so invested. But I don't know, God used that. And so now I'm going to I know how I'm going to pray for Sam this next year. But so we still mess up and we still do stuff that we find out later or in the middle of, this is not restful. I think this practice is like any other of the practices, reading your Bible, tithing, praying, fasting, solitude, all the practices of Jesus, we are human and are going to mess up, and we have to give ourselves grace.
Yep.
And be like, okay, in 6 days, I'm going to try it again. And I know what not to do, and I'll try this and see what this is like.
That's what you just said. That's the beauty of the Sabbath. It comes every 7 days.
Right.
So the 1 week you suck at it, guess what? It's coming again next week.
Mm-hmm.
And you can try again.
So what can you do differently?
Yeah, what can you do differently? And again, I think God honors you where you're at.
Yeah.
It's about engaging with it, not perfecting it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was several weeks here that I went through in my journal. I got to April 26th. This is the first day where I seem to say that we got a full Sabbath rest. So Sunday, April 26th. So this is 2 full months after we first tried it.
In February.
3 months after we said we were going to start. And I think we kind of started, but we weren't really.
Well, in 4 months since we had heard that sermon. Because
January that's what I meant.
to April,
that's what I meant.
4 months.
Yep. 3 months.
Oh, February, March, April.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. So I wrote this April 26th, Sunday. Best part about yesterday was a full Sabbath rest. So 3 months in, and we had our full Sabbath rest. That, again, I hope is encouraging to people. And maybe you can get there a lot faster than we did because, we might be just dumber than everybody else. But so maybe somebody else can get there faster than we did. But it's 3 months before we had a full Sabbath rest. Mm-hmm. It takes work.
Yeah.
I still need to nail down how a Sabbath should look, but I slept in, spent time in the Word, read, made breakfast, watched a little TV, and then I put this worked out, which I don't do anymore.
Yeah.
Read some more, sat on the back porch for several hours, listened to podcasts. It was a great day. Again, and that's something, even podcasts, I don't listen to podcasts anymore. It's something that as you go, you start learning what helps you rest, what doesn't.
Yeah.
And for me, listening to podcasts don't help me rest because it engages my work brain. Mm-hmm. So, but again, the point is, we had what we considered a full Sabbath rest 3 months in.
Yeah.
What did your journal say that day?
So funny. I don't journal.
Okay, May 2nd. So this is now the week after what I just wrote. Saturday, May 2nd. Best part about yesterday, this is how we made progress, was getting so much done so we could Sabbath today. Mm. Did the budget, fixed the screens, changed out the basement lights, cleaned the kitchen, did the laundry and put it all away, then ended with date night with Sabrina. It was awesome. So almost 4 months in, and we just figured out, hey, if we do all the work before Sabbath, we can better rest on the Sabbath. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, especially for people who are like you.
Yeah.
That need things done in order to rest. That it's very helpful.
And now we have what we call a Sabbath prep list.
And it's a piece of cake.
It used to literally take us, we would be scrambling up until 6 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah. And now it is so easy.
Well, sometimes we'll be done by like lunchtime.
Yeah. And I'm like, can we start Sabbath now?
So that was on Saturday, May 2nd.
You know what? I think another reason why our Sabbath prep list feels so easy now is because we have just let go of some things.
I agree with
and
that.
We've said no to some things. Yeah. So we're not as busy during the week that when it comes to the day before where it's like all of this stuff, like our basic prep list is the budget, laundry,
any house chores.
Any house chores. Like we like to start with our kitchen clean, oven, microwave.
Fully cleaned.
We clean all the appliances. And maybe you have some other to-do things, I'm sure, on Sabbath. But usually if I'm not watching Dakota, I'm just sitting around the house. I'm like, what do you want me to do now? What do I need to do now? Because I'm like, I'm ready to do nothing by the time Friday rolls around to get ready for Sabbath. So Jeff has to keep me on track. But it has become very easy because we know the other 6 days what it's going to have to look like.
Yep.
And so then it makes it simple.
And we try to not every week do we do it, and we've had a bad run here recently, but we try to every Sunday,
Oh, yeah.
you and I sit down together and we just do a review of the upcoming week. And we'll ask, what day are we doing Sabbath on? Because we do move Sabbath around.
Yeah.
Like, depending on what's happening in life, we might do Sabbath on Friday or on Saturday. We've done Sabbath, I'm sharing this in my sermon this coming week. We've done Sabbath on almost every day of the week at times, depending on what's happening in life.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure you Sabbath on Wednesday not too long ago because something was coming up that you wanted to Sabbath for.
Yes, and our schedules weren't lining up.
And I Sabbath a different day that week.
Yeah.
Which, again, is not always ideal, but it's okay to be flexible. So we sit down before the week begins and we just say, what day are we Sabbathing this week? And then we build our week around gearing up for the Sabbath. But it took us, again, 4 months to almost 5 to get there.
Yeah.
So this was now Sunday, May 3rd, the day after that, where I talked about that last Sabbath. Best part about yesterday was Sabbath. Read a bunch from The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which is a phenomenal book. Went on a walk, sat on the back patio, listened to some sermons by John Mark Comer on Sabbath, watched a little TV, into the night with Guardians of the Galaxy with Sabrina and Jay. So we still had not changed that yet.
Yeah.
Got a couple more. I think 2 more. Saturday, May 9th. Best part about yesterday was getting so much done. I mowed, cleaned the basement windows, finished to put away the laundry, cleaned the kitchen for Sabbath, did some devos for the church, went to Target with Sabrina, cleaned part of the garage, then relaxed last night. And I said, and we put in a new microwave. We did all that on the day before Sabbath so that we could Sabbath.
Right.
Again, we had now shifted. So 4 months in, I think we saw the difference.
Yeah.
We have to get stuff done to Sabbath. And now we are actually doing a full Sabbath. Some of the things on Sabbath we hadn't changed yet. We were actually doing a full Sabbath. And then one more. Sunday, May 10th. This is the next day. Best part about yesterday was Sabbath. I slept in till after 8 a.m., spent time in the Word, read a little bit, made Sabrina breakfast, made my breakfast, watched one TV show, read some more, finished the Sabbath book that I was reading, did research on the Sabbath, went on a slow walk, listened to some sermons on the Sabbath, started the Subversive Sabbath book, had dinner with Sabrina, Jada, and Jonah last night. That's awesome.
Yeah.
5 months in, basically. And I feel like we had found our rhythm. Some of the specific things we did on Sabbath have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 months in, I would say, to answer the question that was asked of me, when do we see the difference? I think about 5 months in, we truly had it down of this is what we are seeking, and now we're going to see the difference.
I think your stage of life will also play into how quickly you can feel the benefits, because if you got little guys at home, you are going to have to do some work to take care of them and feed them. And so the stage of life will determine how quickly it is. But no matter your stage of life, don't feel like I can't start, because Jeff's talked about this in the last couple weeks. Just start somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you are a mom and dad with little kids, take turns. Mom gets to sleep in, dad gets up with the kids, vice versa. There's all sorts of creative ways that you can figure out how to get this special uninterrupted time with Jesus and what that might look like for you. Because really, he's giving us this gift that we get to decide the contents, but really he just wants to be with us.
Yep.
And so he'll take whatever he can get because he just loves us so much.
Yep. I will continue to say, my favorite part about Sabbath is the uninterrupted time with God in the morning, where literally if I want to stay on one verse, because I love looking at the commentaries and, man, what's this mean? I'll go on into black holes of stuff that I normally wouldn't, because there's time. And I just love it because you could, if it's 2 hours or 3 hours, I've had 3 or even 4 hours times with the Lord, which is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
But on Sabbath, you have the extra time to sit with Jesus in his word in prayer with literally nothing waiting for you that you have to end to get to. It's probably my favorite part about Sabbath.
Yeah. You can actually give Jesus the time you desire on that one day.
And some people might hear that. I don't want people to hear 3 or 4 hours and think, oh, I can't even imagine spending 3 or 4 hours with the Lord. Well, you can't go from 0 to 3 to 4 hours.
Right.
And if that's not already a normal part of your daily rhythm, like that extended time, you have to make it a normal part of your daily rhythm to be with Jesus to make that extended time so exciting. That makes sense?
Yeah. So if you're not reading your Bible consistently, just start with that.
Yeah. Yes.
Start doing something.
Yes.
Like, even though he longs to spend time with us, like, he knows that in our flesh, it takes us a minute to get it consistent and figure it out. And that's why everything we see Jesus do, it's a practice.
Yes.
Jesus practiced it, and so we follow suit in practicing it as well.
Yep. What's this is not a question I prepped you for. What's one of the most recent things that you've changed about Sabbath? Or that we have that you like?
Well, in the past few weeks, before I watch any regular TV, which I mainly watch Hallmark on Sabbath, there's no stress there. Before I even watch regular TV, I've been going back through Practicing the Way. Our couple small group has already done
a Bible study.
All the practices that are available by John Mark Comer. And so I'm going back through them on my own, and I have loved it. And it might take me an hour and a half to get through a
20-minute.
20-minute video, because I'm stopping the video, I'm writing it down, I'm thinking about it, I'm processing it. And I have really just liked that time spent going back through. I've done the prayer practice, and I'm in the solitude practice right now. And then thinking about, what does this look like for me in the week? And so I've set some different reminders, and I have really enjoyed doing that before I watch a movie.
Yeah.
Just getting that more intimate time with Jesus.
Cool. You're not going to ask me something about me?
No.
Thought that was an obvious setup. Well, Jeff, what's something that you've changed recently that you just stared at me?
You were just staring at me, so I didn't know. I thought you would just naturally
This
go.
is why we have to plan out the podcast. You don't have something in front of you with a note that says, Sabrina, talk here, which I normally do for you in the script.
Yeah, normally I don't have to do any thinking. I'm having to do a lot of thinking.
I know. We're just riffing this whole thing. This might be the worst podcast we've ever done. I will say, one of the things we just recently changed that we do both like is when we start Sabbath.
Oh, yes.
So we had forever done 6 p.m. Friday to 6 p.m. Saturday. We just started doing from basically going to sleep or going to bed on Friday to going to bed on Saturday. And we've loved that.
Mm-hmm. I have liked that.
It actually, the one thing that I feel bad about is, that means that because I would typically on Friday night or Saturday night at 6 p.m., I would make sure the kitchen got re-cleaned.
Yes.
Well, now, since I've loved it because to me, it helps that I don't have an end to the Sabbath coming that I know I've got to get some stuff done. I can just go all the way through to when I go to bed. The problem is I know that leaves all that for you the next day.
Yes. The kitchen on Sunday is a big old mess. But it's been fine. I come home from church and I usually clean it first before I sit down and do anything.
What we also have both commented that we love is we've done a couple of Thursday night going to bed to Friday night going to bed Sabbath. And then we had Saturday as the next day where I didn't have to go back to my paid job.
Yes, I did like that.
And so we almost did some of the Sabbath prep stuff we would normally do on Friday. We just did it on Saturday before I went back to work on Sunday. So the laundry and things like that, we would do the day after.
Yeah.
So the day before.
Yeah, I did like that. So, I
It just
mean,
doesn't always work out for us to
it's
do it.
the beauty of
Yes.
it. You can
There's
choose your day.
so
You can
much
choose your
flexibility.
24 hours. If you don't like it, change
Change it.
it. Like, you can't, like, the only way you can mess this up is if you do your paid work on
Yeah.
it, right?
Or
Like,
if you don't do it. The only way to mess up is to not do it.
yeah, like, you can't really mess this up, which I know it's not a black and white thing, which can be so hard for some personality types. But there is so much freedom in Jesus. And so this is just a piece of that freedom that we get to experience. And I love that I get to choose what I want to do.
Yep.
And the day comes to me, and I just look forward to it every single week.
Yep. All in. The one thing that I've changed probably most recently about my Sabbath, I try to go on a Sabbath walk every week. It's harder when it's hot out because it's not as relaxing.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather right now is fantastic. But I went from where I would go on a walk and listen to podcasts, but I had to stop doing that because I would start thinking of, ooh, I got to write that down. Or, ooh, that'd be good for the staff to hear. It just engaged my work brain. So then I started just listening to worship music. Well, then I found myself, oh man, that'd be great. That song would be awesome for that sermon series. Or, oh, I should send that to our worship leader. And so one of my changes I've just, in the last couple of months, is when I go on my walk, I don't listen to anything. And I use that walk, I call it a solid gratitude walk. Solitude with gratitude. Solid gratitude. And I just take that time just to not listen to anything or receive anything, but to spend it basically in solitude and only express thanks to God for what he's already done. That's been a fantastic thing for me. So I don't pray. I don't ask for things. I only express thanks for those things, for things in our life, or just do what the solitude practice is, which we did with Practicing the Way, is what I loved Mother Teresa's definition of prayer. Somebody asked her, what do you say when you pray? She said, I say nothing. And she said, I listen. And then the person asked her, well, what does Jesus say? And she said, he says nothing, he listens too. And her definition was prayer is listening to Jesus listen. I thought that was really good.
It's so hard.
It is.
Like, I was walking with Dakota, and he was being very quiet. So I was like, I'm going to do my solitude now. And I just want to talk to him.
Yeah.
And so it's so hard
to just sit there.
I always say, Hineni, here I am.
Yes. That's
so
what I do too.
To keep my mind refocused, I'll bring myself back to that. But it is so weird to like have nothing going on up there.
Yeah.
And you're just quiet and listening.
Yep. And
I almost feel a little anxiety when I do it. Just because I feel like I should be talking to him. And so it's definitely a practice to keep working on, but
and that's something we just started doing was a daily solitude, of silence and solitude, of just sitting and being, not asking the Lord for anything.
It feels wrong.
It's hard
to just sit there, but
we're off into solitude now, which is a whole nother practice. But I think doing Sabbath set us up to receive that practice a lot better.
Well,
because we've already, anyway. So that's a very long answer to the question. When you started practicing Sabbath, how long before you saw a difference? And looking back, again, I think we saw a difference immediately, but it wasn't necessarily the full difference.
Right.
I think it was about 4 to 5 months in where we really felt, I just looking back, really felt like that's when we started really seeing the full benefits of Sabbath. It was about 4 to 5 months. So don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up for real. And if you mess up,
it's okay.
It comes again in 6 days.
Yep. It's a gift, as it says on Christmas Vacation, that keeps on giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark. Yes, it is, Eddie.
Okay, now we better just end this.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you didn't, please don't let us know.
Keep
But
those comments
we would love for you to like, rate, review, follow all the things on social media, on the podcast apps that you listen to. It would on YouTube greatly helps us out to get the word out about the Naked Party Time podcast. If you have questions about anything or ideas for what we could cover on the podcast, let us know. You can reach out on social media at Sabrina.Manis on Instagram, Jeff G. Manis. Is that right? Yeah, on Instagram and Facebook. You can email me, hello@jeffmanis.com. We'll make sure and get you there as well. Why don't we end with our marriage mission? We are united in Christ, unstoppable with Christ, and unbreakable because of Christ. Now it's time for you to go get naked
and party.
We'll see you on the other side. You've been listening to the Naked Party Time podcast. We hope that this has helped you be more real and raw in your life, leadership, or your love. Please like, rate, review, and comment wherever you see the podcast posted. We are so thankful that you are listening.